Hi, I'm Carrie Blazer. Thank you for clicking on my clip. I have a free ebook linked below, my 6 Divine Feminine Self-Love Strategies. They will help you transform your emotional wounds into personal wisdom. And I take a multidisciplinary approach. And there's something there for everyone, because what I learned is when something's true, it's true in multiple places. Please like and subscribe and help me distribute my ebook to everyone for free by exploding my channel. Take care. Enjoy the clip. Okay, so neuroscience, why recalibrating one's nervous system is the healing process. So when my soul housed a lot of fear, guilt, and shame, my nervous system was calibrated for fear, guilt, and shame through the process of my soul communicating to my heart, my emotions, and then my heart communicating to my brain, and then the brain deciding what hormones, what to release, how to take care of the body. So when I spend more time in my own love, compassion, and enlightenment, that naturally recalibrates my nervous system for love, compassion, and enlightenment instead of fear, guilt, and shame. So recalibrating the nervous system heals trauma by shifting the body from a chronic survival-based fight or flight state back to a state of safety, social engagement, and relaxation. And only when we feel safe can we process our emotions. That's why my first teaching in the ebook is appreciate, learn, forgive equals ego death. When you're grateful for your challenges, you're not fighting them. And you're not, there's no fight or flight with your challenges. You're embracing it. Wow, thank you, soul, for showing me something I can learn about myself, how I can have more self-belief, more self-confidence, more self-love. And we're going to get to that teaching in a minute. But this process uses neuroplasticity to rewire neural pathways and quiet an overactive brain. Something I saw, I think it was this morning or last night, is that if you take a picture of the brain and you compare it to a picture of the universe, they look identical. Of course, you have to really blow up the picture to see all the neural pathways and the filament and everything, but it looks really similar. The universe is a mirror. This process allows the brain to stop associating present environments with past dangers, the triggering process. I don't get triggered anymore because I process my emotional pain. When your nervous system shifts, relationships shift, decision-making sharpens, business problems resolve, patterns dissolve, because you're no longer reacting from old wounds. You're no longer triggered because you've dealt with them. Like, I don't get triggered by trying to apologize anymore because I dealt with that problem. I don't feel anxiety like I used to when I go out in public anymore because I dealt with my problem, fear all men. And then I attracted, Fire Academy instructors, FBI, Andrew Tate, chess champion. So you are a soul responding from new wisdom and knowledge unearthed from your soul. Epigenetics. So epigenetics describes the process of the soul communicating from the heart to the brain, and the brain releases what it needs to based on that communication. Epi means before, signifying what happens before our genetics are triggered. And this is Dr. Bruce Lipton. And I learned from him this quote, "The field is a soul governing agency of the particle," in this small group meeting that I was in with him and about 20 other people. And he taught us that each of our cells has receptors, not for external energy, for our own energy. So my cell's receptors are completely different than your receptors, than the next person's receptors, because my receptors are designed only to receive the energy from my soul. Fascinating. So also epigenetics teaches us that less than 1% of our mental and physical diseases come from our genetics. So the vast majority of our mental and physical diseases come from the wounds inside of our soul, because the field is the soul governing agency of the particle. But let's hear what Dr. Lipton has to say, because he's got a fascinating example with adopted kids and how kids adopted into a family they have no biological relationship with got the same cancer that was typical in that family and not their biological family.
Whatever picture you hold in your mind, the brain releases complementary chemistry that matches that picture, and it releases it into the body, and the chemistry of the blood is what controls the genes and the behavior. Children, when adopted into a family where there's cancer running in that family, the adopted child will get the same family cancer. But the point, the adopted child has totally different genetics. What was the point? It was being adopted into a family where the programming of that child is what caused the cancer. It's consciousness who releases the chemistry to the environment that controls the genes. And you can change your consciousness, and you can change your environment. And all of a sudden I said, oh my God, we were programmed to be victims. It turns out we are masters of our genetic activity. And this is the new science called epigenetics.
If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more conversations about psychology, healing, and the divine feminine, and pick up a free copy of my ebook below. Take care.